Hello to everyone, I am Songül Karabatak. In this presentation, I will try to present to you our study done with my colleague Müslüm Alanoğlu. This presentation is about the students' usage of smartphones in the classes, especially during the lectures. So, let's begin. Smartphone use has become an integral part of modern society. The increase of their power and capabilities, in addition to their decrease in cost, likely make them even more entrenched as a viable and even necessary communication tool in our daily lives. Yet, like most new technologies, smartphone use has unfavorable aspects as well. These unfavorable aspects can occur at all levels and everywhere, and can affect both the user and those around him or her. For example, it can cause a distraction while watching a movie in a theater, or while driving, or while listening to a lecture in a class. And it also can cause psychological diseases such as nomophobia. Smartphones are mostly used by young people. In other words, smartphones are especially at the center of attention of the students. While students can use their phones in a useful way during the lectures, they can also use them unrelated to the lecture. This irrelevant use behavior is explained in the literature by concept of smartphone cyberloafing in classes. Determining the status and reasons for students' smartphone usage in the lectures is important for determining the measures to be taken for irrelevant usage of smartphones during the lectures. And in this study, we try to determine the students' age status of smartphones in the classes. For this purpose, answers to the following questions were sought. First question is, how often do students use their smartphones during the lectures? Second question is, for what purpose do students use their smartphones during the lectures, or what are the reasons for those who don't? Third question is, what are the reasons that motivate students to use their smartphones during the lectures? And fourth and last question is, how does the students' usage of smartphones in classes affect their academic performance and their focus? In this study, the survey model was used and a survey form was created by researchers. The descriptive analysis was used to analyze the collected data. Frequency and percentage calculations of the data were made with the help of MS Office Excel program. And the study group was selected among the undergraduate students at a state of university. The study group determined by the snowball sampling method consists of 577 students in total. Findings regarding how often students use their smartphones in the classes are as seen in Table 1. As shown in Table 1, the majority of students stated that they use their smartphones occasionally in the classes. Half of the other students stated that they never use their smartphones in the classes, and the other half stated that they often use their smartphones in the classes. Students who stated that they never use a smartphone in classes answered only the question regarding the why they don't use smartphones in classes. Findings regarding the reasons why students don't use smartphones in the classes are as in Table 2. According to Table 2, 61 students stated that they didn't use smartphones because they distracted them. 30 students stated that they didn't use smartphones in the classes because the usage of smartphones was banned. And 2 students stated that they don't have a smartphone. The findings regarding the question for what purpose do students use their smartphones during the lectures are shown in Table 3. This question was answered by 484 students, and they stated that they use their smartphones mostly for messaging, educational purpose, social networking, and reading news. These reasons were followed by playing games, watching movies, and listening to music, shopping, and the other goals. The findings regarding the question of what are the reasons that drive students to use their smartphones during the lectures are presented in Table 4. In Table 4, it seems that the most important reason that drives students to use smartphones in the lectures was to research the lecture subject, and second reason is using the smartphones only in emergencies, and these reasons are followed by boring subject of the lecture, attitude towards the instructor, attitude toward the lecture, knowing the subject of the lecture, and the other causes. The findings regarding the question of how does the usage of smartphones in lectures affect students' academic performance and their focusing are shown in Table 5. As in Table 5, students answered this question in almost the same proportions, while 175 students stated that the use of smartphones had a negative effect on their academic performance and focusing. 145 students stated that smartphones had a positive effect, and 164 students stated that phones didn't have any positive or negative effect. Results and conclusion. The general aim of this study was to determine the university students' usage status of smartphones during the lectures. The results of the findings regarding the answers to the research question created in the line with this general purpose are given in this section. According to the findings of the first research question, it was revealed that most of the students used their smartphones occasionally and to message, do research about the lectures, and to connect to social networks. The students who didn't use their smartphones in the classes also stated that they didn't use them because they were distracted. Also, the fact that it is prohibited to use smartphones emerged as another reason for students not using them in the classes. Because of the very intensive use of smartphones in daily life, students are messaging and following social networks to communicate in classes. However, the fact that the majority of students use their smartphones occasionally may be due to their partial awareness of negative effects of using these phones. It may be thought that students who don't use their smartphones in classes are aware that they they are distracting, but students who use their phones are not aware of this issue. The banning of the smartphone is the most guaranteed way to prevent use in the classes. On the other hand, it can be said that banning the phones may not be an appropriate decision, especially considering that students coming from outside the city will want to be contacted in an emergency or want to reach their families. It can also be said that the ban on using smartphones or mobile phones may cause students to talk more among themselves during the lectures. According to another finding of the study, the main reason for students to use smartphones is to do research about the lecture and use it only in emergencies. However, the boring subject of lecture, the attitude towards the instructor, the attitude toward the lecture, and knowing the lecture subject were also mentioned as other reasons that led the students to use smartphones during the lectures. Using smartphones to research the lecture subject has positive function that can support education. The finding that students generally use their smartphones to conduct research about the lecture and in emergencies shows that students aren't very prone to the use of extra circular phones. However, students use their smartphones more when they have a negative attitude toward the course or the instructor. The most important task in this regard falls to the instructor, because in these cases the student doesn't want to pay attention to the lecture and use the smartphone as an escape route. The instructor can concentrate the attention of the students by organizing different activities in the classroom to make the lecture interesting. Also, it can help students get out of their thoughts about knowing the subject by approaching the course topics from different perspectives. According to the findings related to the effects of using smartphones on academic performance in classes, the students who stated that smartphones have no effect, has negative effect, and has a positive effect on academic performance were almost the same race. However, most of the students stated that if they use smartphones during the lectures, they don't have difficulty in focusing. The fact that students thought about the effects of smartphone use on their performances are close to each other, may be due to the different tools of students who use the phone for different reasons. Also, the fact that students' characteristics are different may have been effective in producing such a result. In the classroom, it may not be possible for students to ask questions and answer the instructor at any time, because the instructor has to reach the whole class, not just one person. Therefore, it may be appropriate for students to use their phones on some subjects for educational purpose. Some researchers in the literature suggested that students use technology to access additional information rather than waiting to have it by instructor. Regarding the conclusion that students use their smartphones because they think that they know the subject of the lecture, so instructors can develop different perspectives from the student's perspective by increasing their proficiency in the subject. Instructors should make the lecture interesting to change the negative attitudes of the students toward the lecture or the instructor. By establishing effective relations with students out of the classroom, they can prevent students from engaging in extracurricular activities. It can be suggested that instructors allow students to use their smartphones to conduct research in the lectures, encourage them follow the lecture topics by phone, and create a systematic perspective on this subject. In this way, instructors can prevent students from using their phones on extracurricular topics. For example, the instructor can allow students to take pictures of the board or to record in certain situations, allowing them to use their phones for pedagogical purposes. Thus, the phone can be turned into a resource for learning. As a result, students can be made to perceive the phone as a supportive tool. Besides the fact that the instructor walks around in the classroom and observes that the phones are used for can also significantly reduce the unrelated use of phones in the classes. Thank you for your participation.